Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth, and if you're new, welcome. This week I saw an old quilt someone was selling online, and it got my creative juices going, and I wanted to make that quilt. It had a lot of brown, so I went to my stash and I pulled out some browns and some pinks, a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, and I started making a quilt, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Let's get started. Our block today, called Pavement Pattern, begins with 2 dark and 2 light squares that are 3.5 inches. And then for each of those squares, I need 4 3-inch squares. So for the dark fabric, I wanted an alternate light fabric, and for the pink or the lighter fabric, I chose another brown, and I need 4 of each of those squares that are, again, 3 inches. I took my 3-inch squares and I have 4 of the light squares, and I'm going to be cutting them into triangles. So I'll be cutting diagonally from corner to corner, and I'll end up with 8 triangles. I'll surround my brown square with these lighter colored triangles, and I did eyeball this placement of this triangle on this first square, and then on the next square I'll show you how I did it. For on this one, I just made sure that the ends of those triangles were hanging off a little bit. It does come very close though with these measurements that I'm using today. There's very little waste, but you have to get those triangles on pretty accurately. I pressed my block here, and I'm going to be trimming it to 4 3/4 inches. On this next square here, I thought I would show you another way that you could get your triangles on there closer to the center, and that would be to press your square in half twice so that you have the center line to put that triangle on. When you place the triangle on your square, you'll get it centered right in the middle. If you are having trouble getting your square, your block here to be 4 3/4 inches, then I would recommend just cutting those squares that you made the triangles out of, the 3-inch squares, cutting those just a little bit bigger and trimming down. Now that I have my 2 dark and my 2 light squares ready to go, I am going to sew them together, alternating them and just trying to make sure that the points of those squares meet there in the center, and if they're off a little bit, no worries. This really, I wanted this quilt to look very old-fashioned, and many of those quilts that you see at the antique store or in people's cupboards, the points don't always come together, and we still love them, don't we? I made a few blocks. All of them contain brown, and it just gives a really old-fashioned look to this quilt. Now I could put all the blocks right together, but I've decided that I'm going to add a sashing and some cornerstones, and this is going to be a beautiful quilt. I have a little mock-up here to give me an idea of what it will look like. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.